I am so excited to be here with two ladies that my ex-wife of CareerCon and I met during COVID. Or no, I think it was actually just before COVID. They are in New York City, and I feel blessed that they are coming out from New York to share their talents and also help women over 40 and 50 grow on the job, switch careers successfully, or really do whatever they want. They are business coaches, career coaches, and they've been there, done that. And I am so excited. Now, here's the deal. CareerCon is happening. I can't believe it. This weekend. It is starting with the book signing with Carrie Hannon on Friday night from 4 to 6. If you're in town, it is absolutely free. Carrie wrote the book In Control at 50 Plus, How to Succeed in Today's Workplace. Love it. She is a workplace futurist. That event is at our partners Tara office right here in Denver, Colorado at 9th and Colorado. That is a co-working space owned by a woman. And it's in partnership with Tattered Cover, which is, if you're in Denver or in Colorado, everybody knows who the Tattered Cover is. So anyway, we are really excited to welcome her to the book signing on Friday night, but hello, Saturday and Sunday are the big days. We are here to help women to solve a problem. And the problem is we at 40, in particular 45 plus, struggle to find a job. Gendered ageism is at play. We struggle changing careers entirely. We like to call it swiveling versus pivoting because, during COVID, everyone used that word, pivot. We even are trying to figure out, and that's what these two are here to talk to us about, is what the heck do I want to do when I grow up? I mean, that happens to a lot. It happened to me. That's where CareerCon came about. So the solution is, of course, CareerCon, where we're bringing together HR experts, career experts like Mimi and Jackie, recruiters, DE&I, global to local women and men, mostly over 40, so they get you. But we're not the ageist, so there are a few that are under 40 because they are here to provide you with all the information they can. I am bringing to the stage our ladies coming in to Denver from New York.
Woo!
Woo-hoo!
Can't wait. We're counting down the days.
And I'm also laughing because your group of amazing women will laugh at our very New York accents.
They'll laugh at what, Jackie?
They'll laugh at our New York accents.
Your New York accent, your New Yorkers are coming into town.
Unmistakable and unforgettable.
I have to ask, how do people tell you apart? I'm not going to lie. At the beginning when we first met you two?
Well, one time, not that long ago.
You were both wearing glasses when we met you, by the way. So
I do when I'm reading because I can't see anything anymore. But we, people confuse us all the time because we work together live so often that we're sitting together. And a lot of times we do Zooms, even with business partners. It's they have their own screen. So I am Jackie. I am the long-haired girl.
Well, my hair's long too.
Yes, the long.
For a while, I had.
It is longer from when I met you. Yeah.
I'm Mimi. I'm the tall one. So in person, you'll see I'm about a foot taller than Jackie.
Okay, how tall are you? Because I'm a tall girl myself.
You're tall. Well, I'm 5'8", but I usually wear heels, so that will bring me right up to about 6 feet. What about you?
I'm 5'11".
Oh,
yes, and I wear heels as well. So, although I know we're digressing, but my doctor told me about a year ago that I'm 5'10", and I won't accept it. Because, I'm like, we're supposedly shrinking.
I know.
I will not accept it. I am 5'11".
This 5'5", now 5'4.5" woman. So
okay, you were like Lupe and I. We literally were like this everywhere. That is too funny.
Too. I am so much taller than her, but it's all good.
But this is where
it's all good.
Because Barbara, you and I are the extroverts, and Lupe and Mimi are the introverts.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I noticed that with this thing that we're creating with a wonderful collection of other women across the country. I noticed that we were the
Yes.
So I want to hear, how in the world did you guys get started? Like, what is your background? Because I think someone was at advertising age, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell the story though.
Well, yeah. So, let's talk about our background separately.
Okay.
So I was in media my entire career. And most recently, I was the associate publisher of Ad Age, and I was prepping to become publisher. You know, that was my goal. I had always thought I wanted to be publisher. And then the closer I got, the more that I realized that the goalpost that I had set for myself wasn't what I wanted. And that was frightening. And I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I did not want to do that.
Yeah.
So I kind of jumped off the corporate roller coaster without a net. And I just like closed my eyes, held my nose, and I was like, whatever happens, happens, but I know I can't do this anymore. So I didn't know what I was going to do next, but
When was that? When was that?
2014.
Oh, that was a while ago. Okay.
In a while. So I stepped off, and I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do. And that's scary, you know, and that's part of what we're going to be talking about is sometimes you wake up and you think, what I always thought I wanted to do, is it what I want to do? And now what? And that's really uncomfortable, especially when your identity is tied up into your work and into your title.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's that now what, and I know that's what you all are going to talk about. What about you? What is your background?
Very similar. So ironically enough, Jackie and I knew of one another through a mutual friend.
Okay.
And I literally sat 2 rows behind her at a conference, like 5 or 6 years before we met one another. And I liked her outfit, so that's why she was in my mind. And then we were working together like a year, and I'm like, by the way, were you at that conference wearing like that camel sheath? She's like, yeah, it was me. So it's like a little funny side.
I love that.
I was also in media. I was vice president of marketing at a division of News Corp, and just climbing up the ranks like Jackie. And the next position in front of me was probably C-suite. I had my eye on it, but kind of had the nudge also that I really wanted to do something different and probably go off on my own. And then I had a family tragedy. My brother passed away unexpectedly. And that, like, something like that just stops you, right? And it makes you really reevaluate everything. And I remember in that time, so it turned everything upside down for me. I wanted to reevaluate. And I remember saying to my boss during my review, who was very supportive, I said, you know, this year my goal is to have no goals. And that was scary for me to admit, because I was always the person who was running after the next thing. But I needed that time and space to figure out what was next. And really didn't know, but really started to explore in a lot of the same ways that we're going to be talking about on Sunday.
Yeah.
To find what was right for me. And when the opportunity presented itself, I was able to make the jump and then start my own business. Then I met my fantastic sidekick, and the rest is history.
I love it. And you two are so dynamic together too. And it's interesting because the two of you come from industries that normally, at least these days, gendered ageism is at a high. And so it's interesting that really you all left on your own accord. There was did you feel ageism at all when you were on the job?
I did, because I actually was part of a layoff.
Oh, you were part of a layoff.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
got
I
it.
played my cards. I was side hustling. I had gotten my coach certification. So I was getting ready to somehow step off, but wasn't sure exactly what that would look like. And then the things in the organization started to change, right? And you kind of see the writing on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was the first round of layoffs, and then the second round of layoffs. And of course, when you see everyone around you that's being laid off at the same time, it's the people that have been there a long, long time. I
Yes.
was 15 years. We were all
The money makers, so, you know, the ones, that are higher up the pole. Yeah.
And but, you know, for me, I was preparing for that kind of exit. So it worked out perfectly for me. And I was kind of betting on it. But for other people, it was traumatic. You know, they had been there for 15, 20 years. And it's hard to start over when you find yourself in that position.
Well, and that brings us to the topic that that the two of you are going to be addressing is it is hard. And we hear in both of our communities, we hear time and time again that we don't know what we want to do when we grow up. We're trying to figure out. We know that we're not done.
Yes.
And that, as I like to say, we haven't expired. We're at the top of the hill versus over the hill, looking down, just trying to figure out, okay, what's next? And you can't figure it out. What are some of the things that you two are going to be talking about at CareerCon, or that you've coached your clients on?
Yeah. Well, we have 3 stages that we like for people to really go through as they're going through this process. And I don't want to give too much away, but the first is the honesty phase. Then we go through the wonder phase, and then we go through the action phase, right? So it's really this way of looking at things and starting to explore from a place of curiosity versus freaking out and panic, because it's very easy to slip into that.
Yeah. And I want to add too to that. One of the things that we find, Barbara, and I know you are very in tune and in touch with your community as well. And you're gonna start nodding your head. A lot of the reason why women feel stuck is because who they surround themselves with, and they're worried about what they're going to say, what they're going to think, or even those that are saying something out of good intention, right? And I'll share a quick story, but they bring fear into it. So when I decided to step off Ad Age, my husband and I had planned it. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so we made our financial plans. And I was telling my mom, and my mom is the most supportive person ever. And she said, Jack, you love to work. You have to be busy. I don't think you should do that. Maybe you should go part-time. What if you feel like you made a mistake? So her fear, knowing my personality, showed up as who, and I actually contemplated maybe I shouldn't do this. So we have to be very careful about the influence that others have on our decisions, because it is much more impactful than we kind of give it credit for.
And I like that you said that. That is absolutely true. It's about surrounding ourselves with the people that are the believers and achievers, who will lift you up. And it's interesting that you said your mom knows you and it wasn't her saying, don't do it. It sounds like it was more of having a plan. You're used to, yeah. I mean, maybe she was a little scared as well. I mean, I think my mother thought I was nuts when I decided to be a business owner when I left corporate America. And, but it is a matter of surrounding yourself. What do you tell women when they have those naysayers, or they have those people that, they're good people, but what do you say? How do you step out of that and say, okay, let me just focus on me. How do we get out of that frame of mind of the shame or the judgment or the not wanting to do, because all of that.
Yeah. Well, the first thing is, and you said it already, it's not that they're bad people. So it's not like you have to cut your family off or get a divorce,
right,
or your best friend or anything like that. But, recognizing where it's coming from, and very often it's either a reflection maybe that they're struggling with themselves, or it's just out of fear, right? Fear for us, fear of uncertainty, that kind of thing that they're projecting. So having having that understanding really helps you frame what's going on. And we like to say, you want to really make sure that you tie yourself to someone who's going to lift you up. So that's why it's important to find the communities where you will get the support, so that you're not relying on the people that may struggle to support you in the way that you need.
Yeah, and also just to add to that too, you don't have to tell everyone everything. So recognize
that is so true. Okay, wait. Let's keep that in mind. You're right. You don't have to tell. That's right.
And we feel like we do because we're oversharers by nature. We're women.
Yeah. Because of social media.
Right. We don't have to tell anyone anything.
It's true.
And we can choose to keep to hold our cards close to our vest. And that's a really empowering feeling when we decide, you know what, I'm not going to share this with anyone because I don't want there to be naysayers.
Yeah.
And from the judgment perspective, because everyone judges, I always say tea isn't everyone's cup of tea. So how can I think that everyone's going to love me? Right? When you think about it that way, not everyone loves tea, and that's pretty simple.
Right. That's true. That's true. Okay, I love this. Let's see. Surround yourself with like-minded women, be able to share your heart and be authentic. Authenticity. That's true. And it's so funny because when we say authenticity, I used to go, oh, that's so woo. And, Lupe would always come back and say, no, but it's true, blah, blah, blah. And I used to think using that term was so woo and so cliche, but I get it. Yeah. It's true. It's really showing up as who you are. When you are talking to women that are looking to find a new job, how authentic should they be finding that, interviewing and getting that job? we are oversharers. So is there any advice you give as we're on that journey to find our next job?
Yeah, so a couple of things that are really, really important. One is women that are interviewing, yes, you have to be authentic, and you have to recognize that they are lucky to have you versus you being lucky to get chipped into the job, right? So that's the first thing, the power position in which you go into the interview.
Power of positioning. I love that.
The second big thing that I love to work with my clients on is really understand that the way you show up has to be very succinct and specific. Women tend to talk a lot and talk fast. Not just oversharing, but even in interviews, we tell too much of the story. We get lost in the details. So really having a practiced response and being able to end everything with a power pause, with results driven.
A power pause. I love that.
Results driven stories. And it's really a process. So when I work with clients, I take them through like, what is that cadence? And I do interview assessments and actually going to be offering free interview assessments for all of the attendees at CareerCon so that they can do that with me and learn the benefits of how to interview well, what to say, and then also to do the big famous, tell me about yourself. You better make sure that you don't sound like everybody else. So really owning your worth.
Yeah. And when we were younger, I remember the days of, tell us your weakness, tell us your opportunity, your strengths.
Right.
Are those questions still being asked?
They are, but not always. A more traditional way that people are interviewing now were those behavioral questions. Like, tell me about a specific time when. So they want to know exactly the action you took, what the situation was, what was the action you took, and what was the result. So every question has to follow that pattern. And we need to make sure that we're always thinking, where am I trying to go? What's the point I want to make? Because if I forget about it. And women tend to talk a lot and forget about it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. What are some of the other things that you hear from your community? By the way, they do have a Facebook community as well. What are some of the worries that you hear from women over 40 about today?
Yeah. Is it too late?
Is it too late?
Did I miss the bus? Did I shouldn't have waited. Ageism. It's a real thing, right? So will I ever be able to get a position because of my age?
Yeah.
Well, the other big thing that we find is that 63% of the people in our community, the women in our community, have stayed at their jobs 7+ years. So without getting promoted. 7+ years.
Oh, that's an even bigger problem.
Right, yeah. So what's happening now is then they're going, am I good at what I do or am I just good at this company? Have I gained enough of the newer experience or different experience to be worthy to go on? So that loyalty that Generation X specifically has been to the organization then actually works against them in their mindset, not in their actuality, going after and getting a new job. So building their confidence in the process is so critically important because we know that interviewing is one of the most degrading situations anyone can go into. It's awful, especially now, and especially as women over 40. It's awful. And so if you don't have some sort of real conviction in yourself, it can become very disappointing, disheartening, self-esteem blower,
Yes, all of it. Yeah. Can I tell you what I think is interesting on the other side of that? And I highly recommend people do this for themselves is update their resume. There is nothing better than to remind yourself of all the wonderful things that you have done on your job or in the past than update that resume.
Absolutely. I would even encourage people, and I used to do this when I was in corporate because we forget. So at the end of the week, I would make a list of everything I accomplished. And it's great, right? Like for resume updating, but it's great for review time also.
Yes.
Because we forget, we're so close to it, everything's a blur. So really just keeping that like weekly list of things I accomplished. And this way it's at your fingertips and you can use it as a way to jog your memory.
Yeah. I love this question. Okay, so what do you do when you have a lot of varied professional experience? Future employees sometimes get nervous when your life is bigger than your role. What do you do then? That's a great question. What do you do? Because some people are influencers. Some people live big lives outside of because they're enjoying their lives. We are taking on a lot more interesting things to do. What do you say to that, Jackie?
So one of the things we always say is you need to figure out how it all ties together. So what do all those experiences look like? We call it the T's, which is understanding your talents, your experience, your energy, what makes you happy, and your skills, right? How does that all tie together? And then when you're in the market, you need to be really specific about the role you are going after and why you want that role. The other part, when you have all those kinds of experiences, women will use their network, right? And they'll say, well, I could use a role in strategic partnerships or chief of staff, or I'm looking for a marketing director. And everyone's like, I don't know what to do with you, right? So really being specific about what you want and then craft your story. Be very diligent and intentional about what is the story that I'm going to craft based on all of this great experience, and how will that benefit that organization I'm interviewing with. And if you can do that, they're not going to care about that. It's just about how you package that up. So we have to be our own, we have to know our brand, we have to identify our brand, we have to build our brand, we have to articulate our brand. And too many women don't. They don't spend time doing that because they think, oh, I'm just a marketing director, like one of the many.
Right.
You are more than that. You have so many other things than just the skills of being a marketing director that make you unique. We had a woman, you'll appreciate this, Barbara. We had a woman who worked with us, went through our T's program, and she's like, I sound like everybody else. So we dug in. I said, tell me something about yourself that nobody knows or that's different. She said, oh, well, I was the first and only female wrestler on my high school wrestling team. We were like, oh. Said,
what?
Right, use that, right? Use that as part of your story. I break glass ceilings. I'm okay with going after what I believe in, even if it's uncomfortable. I know I am capable of, right? All of a sudden it changes that story. So really digging deep, and it doesn't have to be just your career. It can be part of you that amplifies and exemplifies who you are.
And you know what that is? That's the authentic side. That is because these employees today, we hear this from Western Union and others, is they're looking for more than just what do you do on the job. They want you to have a great life outside of and be.
Absolutely. And women 40 plus, we have so much wisdom, right? So much earned wisdom just from life experience.
Yes.
So should we really leverage that and show, like Jackie said, that as a benefit to the people who are hiring us across the table, right?
Yes. What do you tell? So I want to go back a second. When you were talking about the women who've stayed on the job for 7 years, are you also finding, because this is another thing that we hear, are you also finding, though, that they're also not applying to go up the ladder because of the imposter syndrome or lack of confidence or not knowing their own personal brand on the job, or they haven't worked on their personal brand, so to speak, on the job, so they're seen as someone who can go up or over? Up or over. We're not all wanting to go up the ladder. Sometimes we just want to make a lateral move.
Yeah, we see that all the time where so the couple things are at play here. One is they have minimized their brand, and the longer they've been there, usually the more of a workhorse they are, or what we call the junk drawer, right? Where everything gets thrown on.
Okay, you're dropping a lot of nuggets. The junk drawer.
Right?
Shut I love it. Oh, I didn't mean shut up. Sorry.
No, I totally get it. I'm with you, girl. So
I got excited.
Everything you need's in the junk drawer. You don't realize how valuable it is because it's just the junk drawer, but it's everything you need. And what happens is we end up doing invisible work. So people don't see our contribution for the power and impact it has. So that's one. Or second thing that we see often is women believe that their hard work is going to speak for itself, right? I worked really hard, tapped on the shoulder to get the promotion. Nobody's giving you anything. And so what we want to do is we've talked about this, and I know you know this, Barbara, but our mission at Modern Gen X Women is to make Generation X the wealthiest female generation. Why?
Yes.
Because with money comes power, and with power comes the ability to change the way business is done and no longer accept the unacceptable.
Yeah.
And the unacceptable is not getting recognized for your contribution. So we need to have a voice, and I know we've talked about this, be seen, be heard. We need to use our voice to say, this is what I do, this is what I deserve. If you're not going to recognize it or pay me, I'm out of here. And that's the thing women don't do. They don't say, I'm out of here. They're like, I'll just wait it out, I'll see. And then they realize that 5 years, 7 years, 10 years in, and then they're afraid.
Right. The more you
And
say,
yes.
the more it is, right?
Part of your
And
identity.
It becomes part of your identity. And it's like, what's that law of physics, right? An object in motion stays in motion, right?
Yep.
Same thing.
Going back to your value, owning your value, knowing your value, all of that. And also what you said earlier about how we as women will continue to talk. And sometimes there's no ending to the point that we're making because of nervousness or whatever it may be. The one thing that I have heard from one of our other women, MJ, when we've had these meetings before or these discussions before, is that we don't also know when it comes to money. You laid out, my value is $110,000, and don't give a reason why you deserve that money. You've already gone through the interview. They recognize your value. She said she would hear women say, I'm asking for 110 because no.
Yeah.
Your power pause, like you said,
That's
just
right.
here's my value or here's my number. Don't explain why you need it.
That's exactly
Right.
Men don't.
Men never do. And the other thing the Power Pause does, Barbara, is people only remember 10% of what they hear. 10%. So how do we make sure that they are paying attention to the 10% that's going to get me the job, or the 10% that is going to be the thing that gets me promoted or negotiation? Power pause, short state sentences, and succinct, so that we get to control what people are absorbing instead of them controlling what they absorb.
Yes, we're controlling the narrative. I love it. I am so excited about having you two. Stephanie Weber, I can't believe you didn't have a question for these two ladies, and I hope that you're going to be at CareerCon. I'm thrilled again to have you two fly into Denver from New York to share your talents and your skills and resources and tools and just all of that. You will have a coach's corner for our women, so they get to actually have one-on-ones with you ladies. And what I love is we're living in a virtual world, so even though you're in New York and you're coming here, people really should consider doing business with you as coaches, because you could do it over Zoom. So
all over the world.
all over the world. So I want to say thank you to you two ladies. And I want everyone to know that they can get their tickets to CareerCon at secondactwomen.com. And I look forward to seeing you there. We're already at 80 something women who will be in the room, and probably some gents, because even though we say this event is for seasoned employees, we are not the ageist. We don't play those games. Anyone can come to this event. It just so happens our niche is that area. So I welcome everyone. I know you two welcome everyone to this event. And I want everyone to have a blessed day and have a wonderful, wonderful week. And we'll see you all at CareerCon.
We'll see you Saturday, everybody.
Woo!
Barbara, this is a testament. If anyone's watching this last minute, testament to what great relationship and connection should have. We've never met in person, and we've done nothing but support each other for the past couple of years, and that's amazing. That's what women need to do. So thank you, Barbara, for inviting us to be with you on Saturday.
I love that. Oh, thank you. Oh,